Okay.
Muy bien, Fundamentos de Español, Lección 1. So this is the first level of Spanish I teach. Here I'm trying to prepare my students to have very basic conversations, whether that be at work in a Spanish-speaking community or during travels to Latin America. It can take anywhere from like 1 to 3 months to complete this course, depending on the study plan. But by the end of it, you will definitely be able to introduce yourself to people in Spanish and make small talk. And then survival skills include things like ordering food at restaurants and buying things. And I'm big on teaching the cultural differences as well. Today, I'm going to teach you how to introduce yourself to someone in Spanish. So we'll go over greetings, the culture behind greetings. We'll talk about cognates to build your confidence up a little bit. We'll talk about the 5 vowel sounds in basic Spanish pronunciation, numbers up to 10, and then vocabulary that most of my students can use at both work and at school. John, here's my contact information. If you can, you should go ahead and take a screenshot just in case you need to get in touch with me. This is my direct email and cell phone number. And then I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn if you want to add me as a contact to either of those social media channels.
Okay.
Bueno, a little bit about my experience. Yo soy de los Estados Unidos. I'm actually from the United States, pero viví en España, Argentina, Chile, y Ecuador. So the reason why I speak Spanish and the reason why I teach Spanish is because I've lived in a few Spanish-speaking countries around the world. Viajé means I traveled to. Viajé a Cuba, a la República Dominicana, a México, Colombia, Uruguay, y conozco Bolivia también. ¿Y tú? ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? ¿De dónde eres?
Estados Unidos.
Muy bien. Yo soy maestro de español desde 2005. So that means I've been teaching Spanish since 2005. I'm also the founder of the language school. Soy el fundador de the language school, which I opened here in Denver in 2012. Before, I studied international business, Spanish, and marketing, where I graduated in 2007. ¿Y tú? ¿A qué te dedicas? So what do you do for work?
I know it's logopeda or logoped, speech pathologist in English. I forget what it is on Espanol.
A speech pathologist in Spanish. I'm not 100% sure how to say speech pathologist in Spanish. I'll have to look into that.
I know in French it's la phonotherapiste, because I have studied French, and I've studied Russian, and in Russian it's a logoped, but I guess I don't know what it is in Spanish.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on that one. Speech pathologist in Spanish. Yeah, terapista de dictación, quizás, like, let me make a little note. Speech pathologist. Okay. Me gusta means I like. So me gusta tocar la guitarra y los tambores. Me gusta tocar, me gusta viajar. Me gusta ir al gimnasio. Y me gusta leer. Me gusta ver películas. And then this is just something kind of interesting. Algo interesante. Yo bailaba con un grupo profesional de salsa. I used to dance with the professional salsa group. So there's a picture of me back in 2008 dancing salsa at the Boulder Theater, doing a show.
Wow.
¿Y a ti qué te gusta?
Me gusta viajar, leer, ver películas y escribir stories, fiction. That was supposed to be right. I don't know if I got the word right.
Ficción. Escribir is to write. So you're a writer. ¿Te gusta escribir? Muy bien. Qué bueno. Perfecto. So I just looked this up. It looks like it's logopeda.
Logopeda. Gracias.
What did you say in Russian? It's logopie?
Logoped. It ends with a D.
Logopeda.
Logopeda. Okay.
Logopeda. Okay, good. I learn something new every day in these classes too. Well, why learn Spanish? ¿Por qué? Over 20 countries in the world speak Spanish, and it's increasingly, it sounds like this is kind of your reason, right? It's increasingly becoming a requirement here in Denver. And that's because over 30% of Denver speak Spanish. It is the second most spoken language in the world with over 500 million Spanish speakers. So it might not be a requirement for your job, but it sounds like it would certainly help.
Yes. Yes.
John, I use what I call a holistic approach to teaching Spanish, which means I teach a little bit of all the different forms of Spanish. I don't stick to one specific dialect or accent, just because in my own personal experience of living in 4 different, and if you include the US, 5 different Spanish speaking countries, it can change a little bit from one country to another. So I try to expose you to some of those differences to help you develop an awareness of that. Last thing before we get into the lesson, these are conversation classes, which means you have to talk. I need to know how to help you. So even if you're making mistakes, that's okay. And I want you to feel comfortable and have fun with it. Ask me as many questions as you want. And with that, let's get into it. So basic introductions. Hola, John.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien.
Good. So to talk about the culture a little bit, in most Spanish-speaking countries, when you say hi to a friend or to a family member, it's typically done with a little kiss on the cheek, what we call un besito, okay? In more formal situations is where you'll see people shaking hands, dando la mano. It could change a little bit from one country to another, so that's not all 100% set in concrete, but just something for you to know. You know, I feel like here in the United States, we always hug people, and in Spanish, it's a little kiss on the cheek. Let's go with the pronunciation. Repite. A.
A.
E.
E.
I.
I.
O.
O.
U.
U.
A. E. I. O. U.
A. E. I. O. U.
Muy bien. Repite. Nada.
Nada.
Mapa.
Mapa.
Papa.
Papa.
Meme.
Meme.
Leche.
Leche.
Tele.
Tele.
Mini.
Mini.
Bici.
Bici.
Fiji.
Fiji.
Loco.
Loco.
Coco.
Coco.
Ocho.
Ocho.
Cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Guru.
Guru.
Muy bien. So that's basically Spanish pronunciation. Spanish is all centered around those 5 vowel sounds, not a lot of variations from those. All right, if you want to introduce yourself to somebody, you could say, hola, me llamo John.
Hola, me llamo John.
And then to say, what is your name? You say, ¿cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
So I would say, me llamo David. To say it's nice to meet you, you could say, mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto.
And a good way to reply to that is to say, igualmente. Igualmente.
Igualmente.
And that's essentially saying likewise, okay? Let's put it all together. Hola, me llamo David. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo John.
Mucho gusto.
Igualmente.
Common questions you'll get asked when meeting people would include the following. The first one is, where are you from? ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de los Estados Unidos.
Muy bien. The next one is, where do you live? ¿Dónde vives?
Vivo and Littleton.
Mhm. The last one is, where do you work? ¿Dónde trabajas?
Trabajo on Aurora, Escuela,
For now, you
or
can just say trabajo en Aurora.
Trabajo on Aurora. Okay.
Okay, let's put them all together. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de los Estados Unidos.
¿Dónde vives?
Vivo en Littleton.
¿Dónde trabajas?
Trabajo en Aurora.
¿Te gusta la comida cubana?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta la comida mexicana?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta la comida salvadoreña?
No sé. Never had it.
Okay, you never had pupusas?
No, but we were just talking about those yesterday in somewhere, but I've never had one.
Okay, good. Well, to say no sé is the absolute right thing to say there. So good job. ¿Te gusta la cerveza?
No, no me gusta.
¿Te gusta el vino?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta el mojito?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta el fútbol?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta el fútbol americano?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta el béisbol?
No, no me gusta.
¿Te gusta estudiar?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta cocinar?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta bailar?
No, no me gusta.
¿Te gusta esquiar?
No, no me gusta.
All right. Do you know what this means? ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Are you able to ask a question, or can you ask a question?
Yeah, just real simple. Can I ask a question?
Okay.
So repeat it with me. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Muy bien. What about this one? ¿Cómo se dice student?
How do you say student, or how do I say student?
Perfect. Okay. So let's practice. Ask me the questions you see here.
¿Cómo se dice computer?
So start with this one up top.
Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice computer?
So this one is dice. Did you study Italian by chance?
No, I actually learned this phrase in my other class. I just must have said it wrong the whole time.
Oh.
So how do you say it again? Dice?
Dice, yeah. The C is pronounced like an S here. ¿Cómo se dice?
Okay. ¿Cómo se dice computer?
Computadora.
Computadora. ¿Cómo se dice office?
Oficina.
¿Cómo se dice paper?
Papel.
¿Cómo se dice employee?
Empleado.
¿Cómo se dice director?
Director.
¿Cómo se dice student?
Estudiante.
¿Cómo se dice conference room?
Salón de conferencia.
¿Cómo se dice classroom?
Salón de clase. Muy bien. How about this one? ¿Qué significa estudiante?
What is the importance of a student?
What
No
does
say.
student mean?
Okay.
What does student mean? Everybody thinks it means the significance, but it's what is something that's significant? something that's meaningful. So what does it mean? So this is the reverse of como se dice. You ask como se dice, let's say you're speaking Spanish, boom, 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 you're going about a conversation and you're just missing one word, right? You don't know how to say something in Spanish, so you say como se dice. ¿Qué significa is something that you can ask when you don't understand what somebody's telling you in Spanish and you want to learn what a word means in English, right? So let's practice with these questions here.
Is it hacer? ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Qué significa computadora?
Computadora significa computer.
¿Qué significa oficina?
Office.
¿Qué significa papel?
Paper.
¿Qué significa empleado?
Employee.
¿Qué significa director?
Director.
¿Qué significa estudiante?
Student.
¿Qué significa salón de conferencia?
Conference room.
¿Qué significa salón de clase?
Classroom. Muy bien. So we've got 3 important questions here. Puedo hacer una pregunta. What does that mean?
Can I ask a question?
¿Cómo se dice student?
How do you say student?
How do you say student? What about ¿qué significa estudiante?
What does estudiante mean?
Perfecto. Okay, nice job. These are very useful questions. You'll have to ask them a lot as you're going here. So this next little piece is just dedicated to trying to build your confidence up a little bit with Spanish. When it comes to learning a new language, well, you've got the whole language in front of you, right? The good news is Spanish and English actually share a lot in common. So you're not actually starting from the beginning if you speak English. I like to tell the story of the banking system as we know it today first started in Italy back in the 1400s. The Italian word for bank at that time was banca. And just the way Europe is all, all these different countries so close together, the Italians did a lot of business with the Spaniards and took the system there. But the word banca changed over to banco in Spain. The same thing happened in French and the word changed to banque. And then the same thing happened when they crossed the English Channel and it went to bank, right? The point is, if you're driving around Mexico and you see a big sign that says Banco de Mexico, and you look at the building, you can kind of size it up and probably guess without having actually learned that banco means bank and look at it and say, I bet that's a bank, right? So, ¿qué significa actor?
Actor.
¿Qué significa chocolate?
Chocolate.
¿Qué significa director?
Director.
¿Qué significa final?
Final.
¿Qué significa hotel?
Hotel.
¿Qué significa mango?
Mango.
¿Qué significa normal?
Normal.
¿Qué significa pasta?
Pasta.
¿Qué significa simple?
Simple.
Right. So that's my point exactly. You know all these words already. The pronunciation might change a little bit, but on paper, you should theoretically already know about 20% of Spanish, just because of these words and the Latin influence from that Latin had on Spanish and had on English as well, right? Muy bien. Vamos adelante. Let's do the numbers. Repite. 0.
0.
1.
1.
2.
2.
3.
3.
4.
4.
5.
5.
6.
6.
7.
7.
8.
8.
9,
9,
10.
10.
Muy bien, John. I'm going to read you a phone number now, and I want you to tell me whose phone number it is. Okay, ¿de quién es el número 911?
911 is 911.
720-634-2589.
The language school,
303-218-6242.
Walmart,
303-576-0065.
Domino's.
Muy bien. John, ¿cuál es tu número de teléfono?
603 290 1059.
All right. So the number that you just told me was 603-290-1059.
Sí.
Perfecto. John, apunta mi número. Write down my number. I'm going to tell you my number.
Okay.
You have a paper and pen?
Sí.
Muy bien. Mi número de teléfono es 720-257-8539.
Let's see. Repeat. Otro. Repeat.
Repite.
Repite.
Ok. Mi número de teléfono es 720-257-8539.
Okay. 720-257-8539.
Perfecto. Muy
Oh,
bien.
good.
Nice. John, ¿cuánto cuesta un papel?
Un centavo.
¿Cuánto cuesta un bolígrafo?
$1.
¿Cuánto cuesta un lápiz?
5 centavos.
¿Cuánto cuesta un marcador?
$2.
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de papel?
$5.
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de lápices?
$6.
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de bolígrafos?
$7.
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de marcadores?
$8.
¿Cuánto cuesta un libro de español?
$9.
¿Cuánto cuesta una pizarra?
$10.
Muy bien. Nice job. Ahora vamos a aprender español para la escuela y el trabajo para matar dos pájaros de un tiro. So let's learn some Spanish that most students can use at both work and at school to kill two birds with one stone. All right, the first category we have here is cosas. Cosas means things. Repite, cosas.
Cosas.
Computadora,
Computadora.
impresora,
Impresora.
televisión,
Televisión.
proyector,
Proyector.
marcador,
Marcador.
papel.
Papel.
Muy bien. The next category is places, lugares. Repite, lugares.
Lugares.
Salón de conferencia,
Salón de conferencia.
salón de clase,
Salón de clase,
oficina,
oficina,
escuela.
escuela.
The last category we have here is people. En español se dice personas.
Personas,
Profesora,
profesora,
estudiante.
estudiante,
Director,
director,
empleada.
empleada.
Okay, vamos a practicar. Have you ever used Quizlet before?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to review it together. And this is really powerful stuff, what I'm about to show you here. When it comes to learning how to speak a new language, we can learn a lot from the way small children learn their first language. And what I mean by that is, for one, we kind of have to learn the new language one word at a time, right? And that's, you know, if you have kids or if you've ever seen a small child learn how to talk, they start with one word. However, before they even start with that first word, they learn how to understand, right? Naturally, you're always going to be able to understand a little bit more of the new language than you'll actually be able to speak, you know, just because in context, you'll understand stuff, you'll get the meaning of things. You might not be able to use the words that you're hearing, but you'll be able to understand them faster or easier, right? So when it comes to learning vocabulary and memorizing new words in Spanish, you really want to apply that same concept here. So what that means is, if we're looking at Quizlet, which is just electronic flashcards, has one side Spanish, one side English, you want to change the options down here so that you're answering with English. So when you do this, you're developing your comprehension, you're understanding Spanish here. So tell me what these words mean in English. Cosas.
Cosas, things,
Lápiz.
pencil,
Libro.
book,
Pizarra.
pizza,
Everybody says that. All right, so you didn't get it right. We're gonna put a star here. Pizarra means whiteboard.
okay,
Pizza's even easier. It's just pizza.
okay,
Bolígrafo.
pen,
Marcador.
marker,
Papel.
paper,
Computadora.
computer,
Impresora.
people,
Printer.
impressor,
Impresora means printer.
okay,
Televisión.
television,
Proyector.
projector,
Muy bien. So we've got two terms to review. ¿Qué significa pizarra?
pizarra is whiteboard,
Impresora.
impresora, copier, printer,
Printer. Okay, good. All right, so now we're going to go to step 2, which is to go from English to Spanish. Might be a little bit harder. However, if you've gone from Spanish to English first, it'll be a lot easier. So, ¿cómo se dice things?
cosas,
Pencil.
lápiz,
Book.
libro,
Whiteboard.
pizarra,
Pen.
bolígrafo,
Marker.
marcador,
Paper.
papel,
Computer.
computadora,
Printer.
impresora,
Television.
televisión,
Projector.
proyector.
Okay, you got it. Nice. So it was actually easier for you that second go around, which is good. I mean, it means what I was, the activity worked by going from Spanish to English first.
Oh,
so,
good.
you know, languages are very complex systems of communication that we use to exchange information and ideas. Most language teachers will have you wrapped up in the grammar of the language. I'm a little different. Grammar has its place, but not when you're first getting started. Okay, we'll gradually get to it, and what I'm teaching you how to say is the right way to say things. I'm just not necessarily gonna beat you up with the grammar.
Okay.
I like to simplify the process, and a lot of research has shown that once you have memorized approximately 1,000 words, you'll be conversational. So that's my goal, is to get you to 1,000 words within the first 3 months of studying with me so that you can actually be conversational in a variety of situations. Doesn't mean you will have mastered the language. Doesn't mean that you will 100% speak it fluently. It just means you'll be able to converse. You'll be able to go back and forth with people in most of your day-to-day interactions with them once you get to 1,000 words. So let's simplify that. That's 10 new words a day for about 3 months.
Okay.
So memorizing vocabulary, I really like Quizlet a lot for that. If you want to do the old school way with just, paper flashcards, you can do it that way as well. So whatever works best for you. But what I always tell my students is the vast majority of your time outside of class with me, let me back up a little bit. I can only teach you Spanish, right? It's up to you to learn it.
Right.
So learning it involves coming to class, but it also means practicing in your free time when you're not in class with me. And the vast majority of your practice time should be dedicated to doing flashcards, to just memorizing vocabulary.
Okay.
And that should actually make it a lot easier for you and a lot more powerful too. Okay, so let's practice. This is the full dialogue for how you can introduce yourself to someone. Hola, me llamo David. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo John.
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bueno.
Estoy bien.
Estoy bien.
Mucho gusto.
Igualmente.
¿De dónde eres?
Soy de Maine.
¿Dónde vives?
Vivo en Littleton.
¿Dónde trabajas?
Trabajo en Aurora.
¿Qué te gusta?
Me gusta leer.
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 ¿Y cuál es tu número de teléfono?
Es 603 290 1059.
Muy bien, excelente. So at the end of a conversation, if you want to say, let's stay in touch, in Spanish, you can say, estamos en contacto.
Estamos en contacto.
Estamos en contacto.
Estamos en contacto.
All right. And if you want to reply to that to say sounds good, you could say, me parece bien.
Me parece bien.
Okay. Estamos en contacto.
Me parece bien.